Now the latest from ITV News Meridian with Sangeeta Barbara and Fred Dinage.
Good evening and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines here in the south. Runaway charges while you'll pay to drop off airport passengers at Southampton. Find out why and how much.
I will rebuild my business. The shop owner whose fireworks store exploded in flames and he wasn't insured.
In or out, stay or go, as David Cameron and Nigel Farage take your EU questions on ITV tonight. We ask the region's newest citizens what they think. And
an invite to go behind the scenes as the world's favourite magical nanny goes on stage. Good evening. Greedy and money grabbing. That's how people have described the fees they'll be charged just to drop off passengers at our airports.
Well, it will soon cost you £1 for every 10 minutes you spend in the priority pick-up and drop-off area outside Southampton Airport.
At Bournemouth Airport, similar charges already apply in their waiting area, costing you £3 for just 30 minutes.
At Gatwick, it's £4.50 for 30 minutes. And for the same duration at Heathrow, it's £3.60. But passengers believe drop-offs should be free, as Chris Morn now reports.
Thousands of passengers head or return from their flights at Southampton here. It's the drop-off or pick-up zone right next to the terminal and currently free for 10 minutes, but only for another 3 months. From September, any motorist arriving here will be charged at least £1.
I think it's just greed, really. They're just trying to be greedy and trying to make more money off motorists, really.
It's important for people to be able to use that facility because, you know, we ring when we get there, get our luggage, we're here, they whiz in and get us. We don't have to pay, but obviously probably will from now on, won't we?
It should be free, I think.
Yeah. I mean, 10 minutes, it's not a great deal.
They start off with a £1 and what'll happen after that?
Yeah, it'll want to go even further, probably.
The airports say the £1 charge will bring them into line with many other UK airports who already charge for pick-up or drop-off arrangements. And the revenue is required to pay for more investment at this airport, where passenger numbers are expected to grow towards 2 million a year.
We've based it on the fact that we have extra passenger numbers forecast for the years to come, and we need to make investment in our facilities in order to provide the great levels of service we're known for.
How much are you going to raise by doing this?
Well, I wouldn't go into the exact numbers we're going to raise by doing this, but I think what it is important to say is that future investment requires revenue to be generated.
The airport will retain a free drop-off or pick-up facility, but that's at the long stay car park, a 4-minute bus journey further down this road. Taxi drivers were today digesting the announcement and how it'll affect their regular trips.
It's just another way of just cashing in and I understand everyone's got to make money, we have to make money, but there's got to be a limit.
The passengers are going to have to absorb the fare because it's beyond unfair of us to take it on the chin again from the airport.
Southampton's airport does enjoy convenient links to public transport, providing an important option for its passengers. Chris Morn, ITV News, Southampton Airport.
2 men have been jailed for a total of 25 years for sexually exploiting teenage girls in a seaside town in Sussex. Osman Karoma and Max Engassa were convicted of 18 offences against 12 victims over a period of 4 years. The men from Hove befriended girls at a parade of shops, buying them cigarettes and alcohol before abusing them.
A father from the Isle of Wight who won a High Court battle over a term-time holiday fine says he'll help other parents to fight the system. John Platt was fined when he took his daughter to Florida without permission, but he successfully argued that she attended school regularly and therefore he should not be forced to pay the fine. Well, the owner of a fireworks shop which exploded in flames says he will rebuild his business despite having no insurance at the time of the blaze.
The flour factory on Bitton Road West in Southampton was completely destroyed last month. But today, Mark Fitzpatrick told Sam Holder he will get back in business.
Hundreds of fireworks exploding in the middle of Southampton. The dramatic fire at 2 shops, including one selling fireworks, led to all homes within 100 metres being evacuated. Owner of both stores, Mark Fitzpatrick, and his daughter lost everything.
When I first got here, it was only the right side of the building that was up in flames. But a few seconds after, the container of fireworks exploded and the big bang started happening. It was like something out of a James Bond film. It's horrific. And just soul-destroying to watch, I suppose.
The fire was caused by cardboard boxes being left too near to a light bulb. And when it took hold, it detonated hundreds of fireworks into a busy residential area. And by the time they went off, the fire had already spread through the rest of the building, damaging around £20,000 of stock. The exact amount lost in the fire is difficult to tell, as all the paperwork went up in flames, but the contents weren't insured, meaning owner Mark will receive no compensation.
We worked hard, really hard, to get to where we were, and to have it took away in a few hours was and is devastating. But you know, you have to go forward. You can't look back. I'll work hard to pay the bills and go forward. That's all I can do.
The future of the building isn't clear. It's likely to be knocked down, but Mark has vowed that his business will be rebuilt despite the losses. Sam Holder, ITV News, Bitton.
Actress Sarah Parish joined the Chancellor in Westminster today to launch plans for a new children's emergency and trauma unit at Southampton General Hospital. The government has pledged to match the £2 million that Sarah's charity, the Murray Parish Trust, is hoping to raise. The hospital is close to her heart after her daughter was treated there before she died.
Retailers in Southampton are still selling knives to children despite the possibility of a jail term and £5,000 fine. In an undercover operation, almost half the stores visited sold blades to customers who were under the legal age of 18.
You're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Coming up, the weather with Simon and news of some flash flooding.
Plus, how do you coordinate dozens of chimney sweeps, a flying nanny and more than a sprinkling of magic? We're backstage at Mary Poppins to reveal all.
And remember, you can keep up to date with all of our stories by going to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095 or get in touch via Facebook or send us a tweet at ITV Meridian.
More news now from around our region, and both sides in the Southern Rail dispute are expected to hold peace talks next week. The dispute is over changes to the role of the Guard, which has led to 2 strikes affecting thousands of passengers. Southern says it wants to make Guards more visible on trains. The union says it'll mean Guards losing duties that will put passenger safety at risk.
Ronald Koeman is expected to join Everton in the next 24 hours, with the Saints getting £5 million compensation. The Dutchman guided Southampton to their highest ever Premier League finish this season, with the team clinching a Europa League spot in 6th place. It's being reported he'll receive £6 million a year on Merseyside, with the Saints now likely to be looking for a new manager. The bookies have made Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe favourite. Now, thousands of people will be joining the great British democratic process and voting for the first time in the EU referendum. They include the newest British citizens, the foreign nationals who've been naturalised after passing stringent tests to demonstrate their knowledge of the country and its language.
Well, every year more than 120,000 foreign nationals become fully fledged British citizens, answering questions like what important event happened in 1066. Of course, that was the Battle of Hastings, the start of the Norman invasion.
Well, I went along to one citizenship ceremony and discovered that when it comes to staying in Europe, Britain's newest citizens are just as divided as the rest of us.
Shaw House, Newbury. Elizabethan mansion steeped in history and last stop on the road to British citizenship. On the list today, Grishma Armin, originally from India. Roman Drobček from the Ukraine. Most qualify because they've been in the country 5 years, or they're married to a British citizen and they've passed a test on language and life in the UK.
And we may celebrate together.
Mother and son from the Wilk family, originally from Poland. Today, mum's changing nationality.
As I said, enjoy our little ceremony.
And finally, Tansy Bartlett from New Zealand. She married a Brit and she's lived here for more than 50 years. After the small talk, a little slice of pomp and civic ceremony.
On behalf of the government of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and West Berkshire Council, I'd like to welcome you all here today to this citizenship ceremony.
I welcome you to the Royal County of Berkshire. It is the only county in the country that is royal. You did it very well. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Now they'll have full rights as British citizens, including the right to vote. Congratulations on becoming a British citizen. How do you feel?
Thank you. I feel it's good. Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
You were just told at the beginning of the ceremony you can take part in important elections, including referendums. We've got the EU referendum coming up.
Yes.
How do you think you'll be voting?
Come out of it.
Is it to do with immigration? Is it to do with the economy?
It's an economy.
The economy?
Economy.
So you think we'll have a stronger economy?
Yes.
Hello, we're British now. Where's my certificate?
Tell me how you're feeling. You're a British citizen now.
I feel great. I really do feel great. It opens a lot of doors, to be honest. So I do feel proud. I really do feel proud, and I like that day. I'll remember that all my life. Yeah, I will do.
The EU referendum is coming up. What will you make your decision on, do you think?
I probably would vote for staying in the EU because coming out from the EU could cause a financial market problem. So you never know. You never know.
So you're still deciding though, right?
Yeah, I'm still deciding.
Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it went brilliantly. I'm really proud of her and I'm really for her as well. It's really nice.
Tell us, the EU referendum is coming up. Have you made any decisions as a family about how you will vote?
Over the last, what it is, 40 years, Britain has been respected more because it's been a part of a strong alliance, of probably the strongest alliance in the world at the moment. So we believe it will be stronger, safer and better off in the EU.
Tansy, you've been in this country since 1965, but today you finally decided to become a British citizen. What took you so long?
Paperwork always put me off.
You were told today that you can vote in the EU referendum. Do you know how you'll be voting?
Yes.
How will you vote?
No, they're trying to control all countries with all laws, and we're all individual countries. And I think we've just got everything here that we need.
There's one thing they are all agreed on. Now they have the right, they will vote on June the 23rd. Well, tonight, Prime Minister David Cameron and UKIP leader Nigel Farage take centre stage in the EU referendum debate.
Indeed, they are taking part in separate question and answer sessions live here on ITV. But just how much do events like these help voters make up their minds? Well, our correspondent David Wood reports from the studio in East London.
We have a little less now than 3 hours until the next big TV event of this EU referendum campaign. Nigel Farage will answer questions for half an hour on why he believes the UK should leave the European Union, and then it's the Prime Minister's turn for another half an hour to argue that we should stay. Now, Julie Etchingham will moderate the debate, but the questions will come from a 200-strong audience made up of 80 people who know they want to leave, another 80 who know they want the UK to stay, and then 40 who are still undecided. The polls seem to be very close at the moment, and we've been to Brighton to work out how people there are making up their minds.
I'm still thinking about it, but I'm not too sure.
We need to be part of Europe, and what's going to happen with loads of people if people have got properties abroad? You know, are you going to have to, you know, get a visa to go and visit your property. There should be freedom of movement of all people.
If the government had done something about immigration, then fine, we should stay in, but they're not touching it, so the only way's out as far as I'm concerned.
Now, in recent elections, we've become used to these set-piece TV events, but with the polls still very close in this campaign, the politicians will be hoping that they'll be able to take the advantage this evening. But just how important can these events be at changing people's minds?
Well, it's a crucial night for both men, of course. David Cameron, the man who, when he became Tory leader, said his party should stop banging on about Europe, knows that his future as Prime Minister could be on the line as a result of this referendum. And in a few weeks' time, who knows, he could just be the plain old MP for Witney again. And he's up against one of the people who represents him in the European Parliament, South East MEP Nigel Farage, whose whole career has been leading up to this moment. This will be the most important hour of his life.
Now, tonight, the economy and immigration are expected to be the topics that dominate this question and answer session. Tonight's also an important day for anyone who wants to vote. It is the deadline to register to vote in the referendum on the 23rd of June. And both Nigel Farage and David Cameron will hope that their big set-piece TV event tonight will help sway people's minds. You can see if it makes up your mind tonight here on ITV from 9 o'clock.
And don't forget, it's your last chance to register to vote. To register online, go to www.gov.uk/register-to-vote. You have until midnight tonight.
Well said. Not
I
easy.
know. Not easy.
Now, the ship which once linked the south coast to one of the remotest places on Earth is making a farewell visit to the UK. The RMS Saint Helena, the last true Royal Mail ship, is due to leave service later this year when flights begin to the island she's named after.
Well, she sailed up the Thames today at the end of a 4,000-mile voyage from the South Atlantic. Aboard was Captain Andrew Greentree from Southampton, who joined the ship as a cadet. Richard Jones has more.
Andrew Greentree has two homes, one on land in Hampshire and one at sea on board the RMS Saint Helena. He's originally from the British Overseas Territory the ship has served for 25 years. It's been the island's only link to the outside world, so saying goodbye will be hard for everyone.
It's coming to an end now. It's going to be decommissioned. I first started my career here as a cadet, and I've worked my way through the ranks over the years. And so I've spent more than half of my life living and working on the ship. So yeah, it's part of me. So it's going to be really, really sad when it does go.
The ship will be moored next to HMS Belfast on the Thames for the rest of the week, and a series of events will be held to mark her passing. And because more people from St Helena live in the south of England than on the island itself, many will be heading to London to say a fond farewell. Brighton chef Matt Gillen will be cooking for a royal reception. He was brought up in Hampshire, but his mum is from St Helena, and his menu is inspired by an island speciality, goat.
It's part of my heritage and me growing up, but I've always only ever seen it in a curry or a stew, so it's to really demonstrate what a versatile ingredient it actually is.
St Helena's £250 million airport was due to open in April, but it's been postponed because a test flight was badly affected by strong crosswinds. Experts are now looking at how to solve the problem.
It might not be officially opened, but it is being used. For example, at the weekend we had a flight in to take a critically ill baby to medical treatment in South Africa. Without that facility, the baby might not have had access to potentially life-saving treatment.
The RMS sets sail for her return voyage to the South Atlantic next week. Andrew Greentree will head home to Hampshire, but his time aboard isn't over. The ship was due to be decommissioned next month, but because of the airport delay, she'll sail on until at least September. Richard Jones, ITV News on the River Thames.
The much-loved musical Mary Poppins opened at one of the South's major theatres last week.
Yes, but just getting the spectacular show on stage every night involves slick precision, planning and a huge backstage cast that outnumbered the performers at least 3 to 1. It's a bit like this programme.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say, how do they do it?
All right, how do they do it? Christine Alsford went behind the scenes to find out. This isn't rehearsed, as you can tell.
Mary Poppins is a show with spectacular special effects, show-stopping numbers and magical moments. But ensuring everything on stage is practically perfect means an awful lot of work going on behind the scenes.
How many props are we talking about?
We've got approximately 500, so it takes us about 2 hours every day to check everything's there for the performance. So there's about 110 people working on the show back here. So.
And what's it like when the show's actually on? Is it chaotic?
No, it's actually really calm. People think it'd be really manic and sort of like people running around, but everyone knows what they have to do. And it's actually sort of, it's like a swan, you know, it glides through the ocean and the little feet are going underneath it.
It really is the most amazing set.
It's incredible. As you can see, the Mayflower stage is literally packed with scenery and equipment. It takes 3 days of our crew working 24 hours a day to put the show in. There's 18 45-foot trailers of equipment here. So, you know, behind you we have the Banks's house where a lot of the show is set, and that, you know, it's full of magic, full of trickery.
And Mary actually slides up those
yeah,
banisters.
She whizzes up the banister as if by magic.
Not going to tell us how that's
No,
done, are you?
not at all.
What have we got hiding back here?
Well, the main thing is the iconic carpet bag.
Ah, Mary's bag. Hang on a minute. There's supposed to be a pot plant in here, isn't there?
It's all magic, isn't it? And behind, the famous parrot umbrella.
The parrot umbrella. And why have you got two?
We use them for different things in the show. So she flies with one, she uses one for her first entrance. So, and also we have spares of everything in case they break as well.
And there are literally
the costume changes are as
Yeah,
carefully
probably about 1,000
choreographed as the
costumes,
dance
because we
steps.
have
The
30
quick change
cast
area
on
in the
stage
wings,
every night.
so
Each
big
cast
it's
member will
called
have
the
probably 3
village.
or 4 costumes each. Here we are, Mary's quick change area. So that's one of Mary's jackets.
How fast is the quickest change?
They're really quick because she starts the show with about 5 pairs of tights on. So it's just like tights off, tights off. She has a lot of shoes as well, so every single outfit's got a pair of shoes. Poor Mary's constantly changing everything.
So many changes means even more work for the backstage team. The wardrobe department do 64 loads of washing a week and then spray many of them to make them look dirty before they're worn. Mary Poppins, chimney smut and all, runs at the Mayflower in Southampton until June the 19th. Christine Osford, ITV News.
Parrot umbrellas. Simon is here now.
Yeah, very handy for some of us. Many of us have had a lovely day today. But if you have a look at my rainfall sequence, you can see that big blob of unpleasantness just underneath Brighton that snuck up and affected mainly parts of Sussex and Surrey. We got some pictures, not the most dramatic pictures, but if you live there, this is Port Slade in Sussex, where you see a rather large puddle in the road. People obviously prepared with the barricades to stop it going into their houses, and always useful to have a pair of wellies hanging around. But thankfully, a lot of roads were passable, and the ones that weren't were blocked off by the police. But some very heavy rain, more than an inch in a very short space of time, and that's when we get these flash flooding events.
So rain, go away now?
Yeah, well, as I say, many of us haven't seen any, so they go, what are we talking about? But,
Yes. Weather looking good?
well, it depends where you live. It might be fine, or it might be a bit wet. Have your wellies anyway.
Or it could be another of those unpleasant blobs.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Simon Parkin.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, the ominous grey skies, like the ones that turned up over Tim Wells in his bit of Sussex today, are set to continue for the next few hours, with yet more downpours quite likely. In fact, it's for the first part of the night that we could see more thunder. We could see maybe an inch of rain falling in a very short space of time. But after midnight, the showers becoming fewer and further between, and we should wake up to a largely dry start tomorrow, and it will be another warm day again once it gets going. But back to tonight, and that Met Office weather warning stays in place until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. A lot of people wondering what all the fuss is about. Staying dry and fine tonight, but very mild and muggy, 15, 16 degrees. And come tomorrow morning, as I say, it's a mostly dry start. Might be a fair bit of cloud at first. That's going to thin and break. And as the sun comes out, watch the temperatures start to creep up. Again tomorrow, we're looking at highs 25, 26 degrees. But that will again trigger off a few showers, although many of us will stay dry tomorrow. But again, if a shower lands on you with not much wind, will be quite a messy affair. As for your high tide times in Portland, 10 in the morning, 10 in the evening, and then another largely dry day on Thursday, but turning wetter by Friday.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather. Keeping a close eye on summer. The Pollen Count, sponsored by Ilogy Eye Drops.
So the upside to those heavy downpours is that at least it brings the grass pollen levels down. So high tomorrow where it's dry and fine, but lower under any dampness. And it's the same story as we head into the weekend too.
And as we mentioned earlier, it's a big night here on ITV for the EU referendum campaign. Here's why.
It's just 16 days to go until the EU referendum and what could be one of the biggest decisions in British political history. Do we stay or do we go? Tonight, two men with different visions of our future in Europe will face our studio audience. Join me, Julie Etchingham, at 9 p.m. for Cameron and Farage Live, the EU referendum.
But in just a moment, we've got the ITV Evening News tonight with Mark Austin and Mary Nightingale.
Fred Dinage has got the Meridian late news. Do join him if you can. He's a promising youngster. But from the team here at ITV Meridian, thanks for watching. Take care.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.